Hello, Internet, and welcome to part 2 of this week's comic book talk, where I'm going to go over Punisher and Ultimate Spider-Man. So yeah, Punisher number 8 takes place, or picks up where we last left off, where Punisher had gone to cover for the medic guy with his partner that he was injured as they were escaping. So we pick up there, and he's carrying them back to their base camp, and he sees the two bodies of some of their other squad mates, and he's like, okay, well, these guys didn't make it. And then he patches up his teammate that he carried there, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna go back and help Castle fend off these henchmen. And so he comes back and is able to, give some extra firepower to the firefight. And since everybody else thinks they're just fighting the Punisher, since when he comes in from the flank and takes down the enemies, they're at a disadvantage. So Punisher and the medic dude can get an advantage in the firefight, and then pull back a bit as the attacking mercenaries are regrouping and recovering. And so, and then you see Crossbones and what's that guy's name? I've tried this. Oh, jeez. But the guy that had captured him last time and was interrogating him, holding him for Crossbones to get picked up, because that's what he was doing. So it's that guy and Crossbones are there, and they're among some dead and wounded people from the firefight that just happened. And yeah, basically Crossbones is just fed up with them. And he's like, just be glad that, you're not worth the trouble, or you're not worth the cost of whatever, something. And then, the guy says to, one of his henchmen, he's like, okay, when this is all over, just make sure you kill Crossbones. And then we cut back to Frank the medic, or the Punisher the medic, and the guy they're rescuing. And they're trying to make it out of the jungle. And then the Punisher asks him, okay, so what were you guys doing here, and how did this all happen? And there's this whole flashback sequence to where it shows they're training the Mexican Marines, and then all of a sudden Shield was like, well, that this dude's here, Ortiz, that's his name. Ortiz's compound is in the area, so you guys we want you to do some surveillance on it, because we've got this tip-off of some surplus Stark technology or equipment that's been in the area getting transported there, and we want you guys to be there. We want you guys to be there when the deal goes down, and then take them down. But then, things go awry, and then, yeah. So some of the squad mates don't make it, and then he's captured and gets interrogated in that room from the last issue, but then they bring in the Punisher, so he luckily got to escape getting tortured to death. And then, yeah, so they cut back to the jungle, and they're like, okay, well, let's find our camp. And then they go there, and they see that there's some of Ortiz's men are there. They ambush him, take him out, and then before they can call for backup, they're like, okay, we got this. Or not okay, we got this, but okay, the camp is secure. But then they're looking around for all the equipment, and they're like, well, there's not much here. And then they're like, okay, we're not going to make it out of the jungle, because all of Ortiz's men and Crossbone and all of them are going to catch us, so we got to find a place to make a stand. And so they're talking about the layout of the land that they just walked over, and there's a dog leg or something a bit ways back. And then the guy they rescued, it's he has a name, whatever, not important character, whatever. The guy they rescued comes to, and so he's able to, and so they're basically going to set him on the machine gun while they use their assault rifles. And so they're checking ammo, and they're both okay, I have two clips, and then the Punisher's like, okay, well, I'll set a claymore, and then I'll blow that first, and then we'll. They're strategizing of okay, I'll empty clip, you empty clip, and then we'll just go from there. And the injured dude will be on the machine gun covering us from a ways back. And so they set up their ambush, and then, yeah, a firefight ensues. And then, but then, at first it's like, okay, it seems like they're gonna just like be able to like clear all these dudes out and like walk away unscathed. But Crossbones is prepared, and like there was a flashbang or some sort of, I'm not sure if it was a flashbang or some sort of like blinding thing. So basically, it interrupts their attack because they're like, I'm blinded. So Crossbones, throws his little dagger thingies that he had the last issue, and so he hits the medic with one, and he hits the Punisher with one as well, and then he smacks Punisher's gun out of his hands, like stabs him to this tree, and then Ortiz shows up and he's like, all right, Senor, I'm sorry. He's like, yeah, Rimlo would like to renegotiate. How much is he worth to you? And then, before Ortiz can say anything, Punisher, like, rips out the dagger from his shoulder and just, like, cuts dude's throat and, like, kills him. So it's like, ooh, no more Ortiz, dead. And then Crossbone's like, ha, I suppose that works out. And, then, let's see. So Ortiz is like, or not Ortiz, I'm sorry. Punisher is basically like, okay, dude, don't kill the medic, because, it was, what's he say? Or it's like, you're after me, so don't kill the medic, dude, just take me and, like, leave him. And, like, and then he also says, since your orders are to, capture me alive anyway, if I make it out of this, I'm gonna come for you and kill you, so, don't kill the medic or I'm gonna kill you. So he's like, all right, well, whatever, you can go. And then he's like, the drill. You know the drill, Frank. Put on the hood, put on the cuffs. We're going down to the hill, and you're going to get in the Jeep, and or whatever vehicle, and we're going to take you away. And so that happens, and the medic makes it back to the emergency evacuation with the okay, so. But the thing was, like, when they ambushed the enemies, when the injured guy that they rescued, when he ran out of ammo, he was just gonna start for the emergency evacuation right away. So he was already on his way there, and so you see the medic guy get there, and he's there, and then the injured dude is like, "Where's Frank?" And then there's like all this monologue about. I'm sorry, like there's narration about the medic dude took a team to like go back for him and like see like what, or retrieve the bodies of his comrades that he found at the base, and then see if he could find any sign of the Punisher or whatever, but he couldn't, so they'd already left. And then you see on the helicopter that, or I think it was a helicopter. He has a helicopter that Crossbones is on. They're on their way transporting Punisher to wherever he's supposed to be, but he gets a call rerouting him to some other objective or something else. And then Punisher's like, oh, so you're taking orders now? And he's like, yeah, we all take orders. And then he's like, where are you going? And or I don't know if that's what he says, but essentially they were going to take Punisher to whoever was the highest bidder, but they get this call, and it's like, oh, well, me and my dudes are going to go blow up this ship. Just you can just sit here and watch. But since he has like a hood on his face, he's like, oh, or listen anyway, haha. So yeah. And then the last page is basically just a epilogue with the medic guy. He goes back to Afghanistan, and then it's like an anecdote of some battle there, and he's like, he basically just ends it by saying, I'll always consider Frank part of the team, and I'll always feel like he's got my back. And he has like this skull badge on his arm that he's put on his uniform as his squad is like coming under fire and like in a fighting, or like in a firefight with dudes, but they come out on top, so it's cool. And that's it. And there's no like to be continued or what's gonna happen next. So So yeah, there's no real foreshadowing of what happens at the beginning of the next issue, but I'm guessing it'll take place either with the Punisher in like the wow, I'm trying to think of the words, but in the wow, I had it. Not, I was going to say capacity, not the capacity, but in the confines of whoever is the highest bidder that wants to like get him really bad. Could it be the Howling Commandos? I doubt it, because it just wouldn't make sense. That would be weird. Maybe some villain, or they're going to go to the boat that Crossbones is going to blow up, and then he'll, be able to stop that somehow by getting free while he's locked up on the helicopter or whatever. But yeah, that was wow, I pushed the wrong button there. That was the Punisher number 8, and then also I'm not gonna say like the art was like better or worse, but it was a different artist, and you could tell because like the series so far has had like a very distinct art style, and I've really enjoyed it. But this one was not the same. Not to say it was like it wasn't like a decrease in quality at all. It was just like a different art style. So it's like I'm enjoying it so far. So that's kind of a thing, but whatever. So that was that for the Punisher this week. I was gonna do a like little overview of the first 3 issues of Ultimate Spider-Man, Miles Morales, but I changed my mind, dude. Like, I'm just gonna say, like, if you're kind of tired of any of the other versions of Spider-Man right now, just check out Ultimate Spider-Man, because it's really good, and it's a good jumping on point, because in the Ultimate Universe, they basically just had this thing that wiped off, well, not, like, they killed a bunch of people, essentially, because I didn't read the event, but I had been reading, like, some Ultimate X-Men, and it seems like they're just like dwindling as far as like heroes in that universe. So it's like it's very easy to pick up just because there's not a lot going on, because it's very not too crazy as far as like the hero count and like superheroes everywhere. But yeah, it's cool. They did like the whole there's that, and then there's like a villain that's back that killed the previous Spider-Man, Green Goblin. So we'll see what happens. And then also, Miles is on the new Ultimates, so it's interesting. It's got like let's see, Kitty Pryde's there, Cloak and Dagger, and Bombshell, and there's a character who is a Black Widow, but it's somebody else instead of the usual Black Widow, I think. But whatever, I haven't read any of them, so I'm not sure if it's any good. But I'm enjoying Ultimate Spider-Man, so yeah. But yeah, that's it for this video. And yeah, I'll be back hopefully next week. Maybe not. We'll see. But yeah. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe, favorite, share with your friends or not. That's cool too. And until you see or hear from me again, thanks for watching and listening. And until you see or hear from me again, I'm now signing off.